Prayuchyamane. Having been awarded, Mai, on me, Tam, that, Shuddham, transcendental, Bhagavatim, fit for associating with the personality of Godhead. Tanum, body, Arabdha, acquired, Karma, fruitive work, Nirvana, prohibitive, Nyapatat, quit, Pancha Pautikaha, body made of 5 material elements. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Having been awarded a transcendental body, befitting an associate of the personality of Godhead, I quit the body made of 5 material elements, and thus all acquired fruitive results of work, karma, stopped. Purport. Informed by the personality of Godhead that he would be awarded a transcendental body befitting the Lord's association, Narada got his spiritual body as soon as he quitted his material body. This transcendental body is free from material affinity and invested with 3 primary transcendental qualities, namely eternity, freedom from material modes, and freedom from reactions of fruitive activities. The material body is always afflicted with the lack of these 3 qualities. A devotee's body becomes at once surcharged with the transcendental qualities as soon as he is engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. It acts like the magnetic influence of a touchstone upon iron. The influence of transcendental devotional service is like that. Therefore, change of the body means stoppage of the reaction of 3 qualitative modes of material nature upon the pure devotee. There are many instances of this in the revealed scriptures. Dhruva Maharaj and Prahlad Maharaj and many other devotees were able to see the personality of God face to face, apparently in the same body. This means that the quality of a devotee's body changes from material to transcendence. That is the opinion of the authorized Goswamis via the authentic scriptures. In the Brahma Samhita, it is said that beginning from the Indragopa germ up to the great Indra, king of heaven, all living beings are subjected to the law of karma and are bound to suffer and enjoy the fruitive results of their own work. Only the devotee is exempt from such reactions by the causeless mercy of the Lord, of the Supreme Authority, the Personality of Godhead. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanasalakaya Chakshurmiritamina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangung Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamahang Vande Shri Gurun Dinataranam Shri Chaitanya Manobistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svabhadantikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Having been awarded a transcendental body befitting an associate of the personality of Godhead, I quit the body made of 5 material elements, and thus all acquired fruitive results of work, karma, stopped. Narada Muni, in his former life, we hear about here his former life, which is already interesting that the Bhagavatam, as an historical text who focuses on different personalities, at time describes different lives they had, goes through different lives, which is already very interesting. When we read any biography, it focuses on this life. Take any historical person, then you have biography of this life. No biographer knows what was he doing last life, why is he now in this life, and when comes next life, something like this. So already this feature of the Bhagavatam having a quite high vision, and in that sense also can trace the karma or activities of a living entity over more lives, is quite astonishing. Of course, nowadays they have this regressions, past regressions, all this, but they never know. It can be different too. It's not 100% sure. even though there are many studies made and sometimes it seems quite clear, you never know, it always can be somehow messed up and there's much cheating there also going on. But the Bhagavatam with complete clarity gives stories like this. And Narada Muni, we follow him actually through 3 lives, right? First he was this Gandharva, something, well, who knows the name? Upavarana, no? He was the Gandharva, then he became this boy, and then the great Narada Muni. Or also with King Chitraketu, we follow him also through 2 lives, actually, right? He was the king, and then he became Ritrasura. Or Bharat, also 3 lives. He was a king, then a deer, and then a great sage, Jadabhart. So this is quite interesting. And devotees take this as fact. We never think, maybe someone was speculating, who knows? No. We know the Bhagavatam is clear. It's Aparushaya, it's the ripe fruit on the tree of Vedic knowledge. It's written by Vyasadeva, who has a perfect vision, and that's why he is completely qualified to speak. We should take this also as example, especially when we sit on a Vyasasana to represent, it's Vyasa's seat, right? It's called Vyasasana. It's not my seat, it's not the temple seat, it's the seat of Vyasadeva. And when we imagine now Vyasadeva sitting here, or we represent him, we should be very serious of speaking no nonsense. So how to protect of speaking nonsense? Just repeating what was written here and elaborating as much as we can elaborate, as much as our realization goes. So that we should be very careful in representing Vyasadeva, not putting some words in his mouth what he never said when we sit on his seat. So please bless me to do this, because this is not as easy as it sounds. Right? We tend to speculate and speak this and that. So this is the duty of the speaker of the Bhagavad, to just repeat what you heard. Then we are 100% sure that it's true, because the Bhagavatam is true. So Narada Muni is leaving now his body, and it's said here that he immediately gets a spiritual body, and Prabhupada gives very interesting, I was not expecting this. Let's see again, maybe we can think about this, what this means. This transcendental body is free from material affinity and invested with 3 primary transcendental qualities. So far so good. I thought, okay, now come the 3 qualities. It starts eternity, of course, and then, I was not expecting this, freed from material modes, and freed from reactions of fruitive activities. Normally you would expect something different. Just for one who does not know, what would we expect? Eternity, cognizance, or knowledge, or consciousness, and bliss, happiness, Ananda, Satchidananda. So Prabhupada gives 3 other qualities. Must be interesting where these come from. Prabhupada has a reason why he says things. It's not that he made them up or something. Some Acharya must have some explanation. It just gives this version. So freedom from material modes and freedom from reactions of fruitive activities. Freedom from modes means nirguna, meaning the spiritual body is not tinged by material qualities. It's nirguna, no material qualities, completely free. Vishuddha sattva, an anti-material body. I'll mention this, an anti-material body. All bodies we know in this world, they are material. So imagine an anti-material body. How does this work? No atoms inside, no DNA, no blood, no bones, just spiritual energy. But it's a body. And this is a being. It's a person who can speak and talk and walk and do all kinds of things. As we see with Narada later on, he's traveling through all the universe with his spiritual body. This is the true situation of all of us, that we are not this physical body, but we are the spiritual body. And with this we are completely free to do whatever we like. But we can do only what we like if we are in harmony with Krishna. We have the same consciousness, Krishna consciousness. And when we say we do whatever I like now, the ego, then immediately you get a material body. It doesn't work with the spiritual body to do what the ego likes. It's not compatible. Only in the material world this is compatible, with the spiritual body not. So the body is nirguna, no tamas, no rajas, not even sattva guna. Some of you have sometimes a problem with tamaguna, rajaguna. Sometimes, slight little encounter with these modes. And you think, why I'm conditioned like this? Why do I have to sleep so much? In the morning I thought, where are all the devotees? Oh, he's sleeping, he's dead. And I thought, with these men, we cannot win a war. We have to get up. We are in wartime. What would Ram say? Where are my monkeys? Oh, they are sleeping. And you are fired up. So we are also monkeys in Prabhupada's army. And we can be very valuable in this war against Kali Yuga. General Kali Yuga. We have to find him like this. Al-Qaeda or something. He's very tricky, more tricky. Kali is more tricky. So anyway, so sometimes we have this problem with Rajaguna and Tamaguna. But we don't have problem with Sattvaguna. But from a spiritual point of view, even Sattvaguna is a problem. It's also a conditioning. In the Bhagavad Gita it said, you're conditioned by thinking yourself very happy and full of knowledge. And you're proud. Because you obviously see the others are not. They are not so happy because they're always struggling or fighting. How often have we not seen people on the street who are very unhappy and screaming and yelling because they are full in Tamaguna, angry or disturbed or drugs. Often these people on drugs, it's really a pity to see, but they are so, full in Tamaguna and completely suffering. So in Sattvaguna, you don't think, I'm intelligent, I'm clean, I'm prestigious and honorable, I know so much. I'm quite good, I'm doing well. Or how often do we meet people in the street and show a book and they say, no, I'm quite all right. Everything is fine. I have money. Once I met a guy in Erlangen. He said, I don't need anything of your books or whatever. I'm set for my whole life. He had some inheritance or something, and he was very young, younger than me. And he has so much money, he doesn't have to work or do anything, he can just, enjoy the whole life, do whatever he likes. He said, I don't need this. I tried to explain. It was very difficult. I could not convince him to take a book. He's so absorbed in his, I don't want to say this is complete Sattvaguna, but it's conditioning of thinking yourself being happy. But whereas a person who suffers, it's very easy to take it up. How often have you not met people on the street who suffer? Once I was just doing this is a very good place. If you want to go on marathon and win a marathon, the place I can recommend, it's Dessau. No, Dessau. Probably these two. Dessau is very good. And I was distributing there, Bhagavad Gitas. And one old man came with his, he had this rolling thing. No, actually he had not. This was a different one. This was then in the other great place in Neu, above Hamburg, something. Neu, whatever. So anyway, this old man came and I told him this book, this, that. And he said, he said to me, my dear boy, I was a little younger, he was older, I'm still young. I don't want anything. Life is so bad, it's so terrible. And he starts speaking. My whole life with my wife, we were waiting together for the pension. We're working hard. We went through all this communism and now it changed and this and that. And we said, yeah, let's go through. And then when we take rent and pension, we will enjoy life. Right? And recently we came into this pension, my wife also. And a couple of days ago, she went out of the door of the street and a truck ran over her. So this is sad, but it's good to hear how horrible material life can be. Right? A truck ran over and she's dead. So, but he waited his whole life until he can enjoy his money and go in with the caravan or fly somewhere. And it's all smashed now. So he waited. Normally it's said, Vorfreude ist die größte Freude. Yeah, the happiness before the real happiness, it's said to be more happy than the actual happiness. But anyway, he was waiting, and then everything got smashed. And he took a book. I explained to him, my dear sir, this book is now very important for you. It's all about this. Death, life, leaving body. This is so important that you read this now. Please take. And he took it. Or in this other place, I forgot, in above Hamburg, a lady, she had this thing. And she was young, actually, was not that old. And I showed her a book, and she said, no, I don't I have MS, this MS, multiple sclerose. And she collected donations for other multiple sclerose people. She was quite engaged in this to help other people. And she was a little bit open, but then she didn't like. And then I told her, I was very straight. I said, my dear lady, it's very good for you that you have this sickness. You can be very happy because you think about life. When people suffer, they think about life. They are more open. If you imagine everything is wonderful. You're rich and you're healthy, this and that. You're completely absorbed in your little material world. But like this, it's different. And she understood, and she was very happily taking Bhagavad Gita. She appreciated it. I said it for not arrogant or something. I really wanted to, and she accepted it. And she took the book. So often when people suffer and they are pious, this is the difference. People suffer and they are pious, they take a book. If they suffer and they are impious, they will never take a book. Because they always blame at the end God for the suffering. So this combination of suffering and impiety makes atheism. This combination of impiety and suffering makes an atheist. Often people, they are very sick or they had a car accident or something, or in these wheelchairs. Often I approach people in wheelchair, but they are so nasty. Most of the time, it's just my experience, they are so nasty. Because they somehow blame God for their, that they sit in the wheelchair, don't take a book. So this situation, there's Tamaguna and Rajaguna, it affects our body. It's very difficult to practice sadhana, and it's a disturbance. So Sattva Guna is also a disturbance from the spiritual point of view. But we are so fallen, we have to work ourselves up to Sattva Guna. So it's very important that we read Bhagavad Gita, very careful to understand what is Sattva Guna. And then practice, and it works. But imagine you have no problem anymore with Sattva Guna. Rajaguna, Tamoguna, no problem. Spiritual body, you don't have to sleep, you don't have to eat, don't have to go to the toilet, don't have to take shower. You're not conditioned by time, space, and place. Maybe time, I don't know. I don't know if Narada Muni can travel back in space and time, back to future or something. I don't know if he can do this. But you're not Krishna, actually. He could rewind everything. Anyway. So, and this is actually our position, that we are nirguna. Our body is completely free of this, our real identity. So you think, wow, that would be amazing. This comes by Krishna consciousness. And here, a very interesting point is made by Prabhupada. We don't even have to wait until we die until this will happen. Yesterday we heard, only until the last traces of karma are over, then we will leave the body. As long as we have karma, it keeps the body together, right? So we have still this karma. So we don't have to, if you think, it would be so nice to be nirguna, to be completely transcendental, but I have to die for this. Prabhupada says, no. When you are engaged in devotional service, now you can experience this. Spiritual consciousness, Krishna consciousness, is not conditioned by anything. It's absolute. It's not conditioned by matter. So we can have it now. That's the reason why Prabhupada said, Krishna consciousness is a question of now or never. Just depends on us. You can have it right away now, if you really want. Or if you never develop the desire, become serious, it will never happen. You can chant as long as you like. At one point, our desire has to come in. In the beginning, it's quite automatic. But then in time, bhakti works only with this anyabhilashita, with this anukulena Krishna, shilana bhakti uttama. With our endeavor, our pleasing attitude towards Krishna. This we have to develop. Yeah. So this is the second what he mentions. And then the third he mentions freedom from reactions of fruitive activities. So the spiritual body, of course, like Narada Muni, there's no karma anymore. There's nothing happening. But still, sometimes he gets gets into bad situations, especially with Daksha. Right? With Daksha, he had some bad encounter, but it was also a blessing. So this is what was talked here about, that we have actually a spiritual body, and with Krishna consciousness we could revive it. And Prabhupada says in the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita in verse number 6, in the purport, that, and he speaks about a similar topic. He speaks on the nature of the spiritual world, which is natat pasayate suryo na shashanko na pavaka yat gatvana nivartante tatama paramang mama. And it is said in this verse that the spiritual world, there is no need for sunlight, moonlight, or fire, and Prabhupada says electricity also. So they don't have to turn on the, they don't need light bulbs. They don't have a problem with this Sparlampen. Because it's only the negative side. No, this is not needed. And if you go there, you will never come back. Param and Dharma, this is Krishna's supreme abode. Actually, this is the most specific verse in Bhagavad Gita about the spiritual reality. This is all what Bhagavad Gita reveals, that this world is there's no need for artificial light, which implements, means that everything is self-effulgent. So this is the verse, and Prabhupada explains in the purport that if we hear this information, we should be, how he says, very eager. What was it? He said in German. Man sollte sehr. Oh, I forgot it. No, it was that. We should be. Always good. I forgot it right now. Anyways, but to be very enthusiastic, very eager, and completely begeistert. This is what he says. Begeistert, enthused. When you hear this, you should be enthused. Saying, my God, this is great. This is wonderful that such a thing exists already, even though we might have not experience of it, but it just exists. And I think this is for many in the beginning a quite amazing experience when we read Prabhupada's books and he explains concepts like this, and just a thought about whatever Prabhupada explains about the spiritual world or Krishna, that this exists is already so uplifting and enlightening. And my God, it's amazing. Never heard about this. So Prabhupada said, you should be enthused, you should be begeistert when you hear this. There's a question of realization, right? So when we hear this, I'm actually not a body, I'm a spiritual being, I'm eternal, full of knowledge and bliss, free of the modes. So it's wonderful, great, I want to experience this. And with this vision or this expectation, this understanding, we practice our devotional service in eager anticipation of finally experiencing or become Krishna conscious, to finally become serious. Finally, don't be in Rajas and Tamas anymore. Finally, become pure devotees. Have pure love for Krishna. Be Krishna conscious. Prabhupada made this in a point yesterday in the purport where he said this is the whole point, to go back to Godhead, become Krishna conscious. And we shouldn't be sidetracked by anything. This is the sign of a sadhu, a great person, that he sing Ekeya Kurunandana, Bahusha Kayanantasha. Right? He has only one goal in mind. This is what I want. I want Krishna. The only problem is that we have still many other desires in our heart, in our consciousness. But with time, the desire to become Krishna conscious would grow, and the others will become less and less until somehow they fade away. Right now, to become Krishna conscious is definitely for all of us a desire, but it shouldn't be a desire, it should be the desire. And should not be the desire, it should be the only desire. This is what it should be. So we should, like a forester. You know what a forester is? He goes in the forest, and actually I learned forestry. I was in a forester school. And one thing you learn when you are forester, because it's all about money, of course, it's Forstwirtschaft, economy of the forest. It's not just, oh, it's so nice here, and the birds are chirping, and the trees and the air is so good. It's all about money, because it brings lots of money. These guys who grow there, they bring money. And then you go inside, and then you look at what you have, and then you search for the Z trunk. In German, it's called Z-Stamm. Z, it means Z, it means future. In German, it's Zukunft, means future. The tree, which in future will be the best amongst in his area. And this one you have to help, that he grows nicely. And in order to do this, you kick out the others which are disturbing him. And then you go inside, and you have either a marker, a spray, or something where you can scratch the bark. And you see, okay, he will grow like this, and he is next to him, too close, and he is also his rival, and you make a cut. Okay, here out, and here and here and here. So now it's taken care. He will grow very nicely in future, right? So we should see what is our Z-Stamm. It's Krishna. It should be the K trunk. He should grow. This desire should grow. This is the, the seed we put in our heart of the Bhakti Lata, the plant which grows. And it's said in Chaitanya Charitamrita that unfortunately there's weed growing. So the rivals of our plant which grows until to Krishna, to his lotus feet, to Goloka Vrindavan. And these other plants are rivals. And the forester is very careful and sees who is, threatening my trunk, my tree. So out with you, immediately. So we shouldn't tolerate. Should be very determined. Oh, but for this we have to see. Oh, this is a little problem for my Z-Stamm, for my K-Stamm. It's envy. Oh, I recognize sometimes a little envious of devotees. He sings better than me. He's more beautiful than me. He distributes more books than me. Oh, big problem. Big problem. Yes. So how to avoid this? Right? You have to work on it. Find a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. Lust. Oh, I have some problem with lust. I have a problem with greed. I sleep too much or something. Focus. See what is the forest. Of course, I'm in the forest example now, but actually it's the garden example we have, right? We're the gardeners. And the gardener is very careful to have nice plants. So we should be gardeners, always focus on our heart, what is there and what should not be there, and then carefully and determined work on it. And where there's a will, there's a way. I will not go into techniques, what we can do, but just this point. Where there's a will, there's a way. Become pure devotees and wish everyone well. Please, may you become a pure devotee. May you become a pure devotee. May you bless me to become a pure devotee. It would be great if we would be all pure devotees. Imagine the kata of a pure devotee. And imagine the reception of kata by a pure devotee of a pure devotee. This is amazing. It's not just the pure devotee speaking, it's also the pure devotee listening, shravanam. Like Parikshit, he was very eager to listen every word of Shukadev. He was hanging on every word. And when he stopped speaking, asked, and what was here and what was there? It was not finally stopped speaking, like we sometimes, right? Finally he stopped speaking. How long will he drag it out until eternity? My God, I heard this so often. I'm hungry, I'm sleepy, stop speaking, drag him down, kick him out. Yeah, the restful mind might tell like this. Well, but Parikshit Maharaj was not. When Shukadev stopped speaking, he says, please keep on speaking. I'm so eager. Also the sages in Naimasharanya in the first canto, in the first chapter, they also speak like this. We are always eager to listen to Krishna Katha. So we are so happy that we are all assembled here in this nice forest of Bavaria and listen Krishna Katha. Daily, Prabhupada says daily. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Always. And then Prabhupada gives the example. I heard a lecture today in the morning where he said, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Some they do like this Shapta, what is this? Shapta, Bhagavata Shaptaha. No? Bhagavata Shaptaha. 7 days of Bhagavatam. And when Prabhupada says, but it should not be 7 days, it should be always. It's just for Parikshit because he had only 7 days. For him 7 days is Nityam. But for us it's not only 7 days. For it's always, daily, always. And then he says, the Bhagavatam, there's no comparison. That's the reason why it should be distributed. And he says, there's no comparison to this book. Meaning this is the best book. And we have to understand this when we study it and read it. Bhagavatam, and he says, the Grantaraj, no? The king of scriptures. We say, Grantaraj, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Grantaraj means the king of scriptures. Like a king is very powerful, very opulent, sitting on the throne, and everyone around him surrounded and worshipping, praising, and he's the great king. So this the Bhagavatam is the king, Grantaraj. And the more we can understand this, relish this, the more we are eager to distribute. And now I give information out, which will come out very soon per email also, official, but here are some Sangha devotees. For the marathon, the price for the Bhagavatam is by 25 cents reduced. Ki jai! So we can distribute more Bhagavatams. The price for the Bhagavatam is for the marathon, only for the marathon, reduced to encourage the devotees to distribute more Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the Amala Purana. Vaishnava Priyam, Amala Puranam, Vaishnavam Priyam, Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam. It's very dear to the devotees. So we can ask ourselves, is the Bhagavatam dear to me? Do I like the Bhagavatam? Am I attached to the Bhagavatam? Do I love the Bhagavatam? Can I not live without the Bhagavatam? Am I eager to understand what's written here? Do I want to read it? This is what we should have. That's a Priyam. It's very dear to the devotees, this Bhagavatam. So we can read it, study it, dive into it, relish it. It's amazing. It's perfect in meaning and in presentation. It's a very important point. It's perfect in the meaning and in the philosophy and in presentation. Very often you have, like, has everyone read of you some philosophy books, like contemporary or mundane philosophy sometimes? Someone read some? Something, a little bit. So I wanted to understand once Immanuel Kant. And I started reading this Kritik der reinen Vernunft. This is like one of his major theses. I thought, man, can you write please more complicated? What do you want to tell me? It's amazingly complicated. In everything, he makes like sentences, half a page and intricate and everything. He's like, what do you want to say? I'm sure there's something inside, but I have no clue what this means. Other philosophers are more simple, but Immanuel Kant is one of the complicated guys, and he purposefully does it, you know. Not only the most intelligent can understand me. If you're not intelligent, you're out. No? So maybe or like philosophers, their presentation is awful, but they have some meaning, there's some purpose behind, but it's like difficult. And then you have very nice presentations, poetry, like Goethe. Has everyone read of you sometimes Goethe? Faust especially, it's said it's one of the best, they say, one of the best poetries in the world ever written. And when you read it, it's really, really amazing. If especially you can understand German, it's amazing how he puts words, right? I don't know how English translation would sound, but it's amazing. How could he figure it out? It sounds so beautiful. But when you read it through, it's like almost, of course he has some meaning, but almost like no meaning in comparison to the Bhagavatam. So the Bhagavatam is beautiful, most beautiful in presentation. The Sanskrit shlokas, the meter, the melody, the words, and also Prabhupada's translation, we can get something out of it. And this extremely, most deep, profound meanings and philosophy inside of Krishna Tattva. Krishna Tattva, Ras Tattva, is like, it's the most profound philosophical concept there is in the whole world, in the whole history. No one has this. Especially Rupa Goswami, who is the Rasacharya, who brought it out in detail. And it's amazing what we have here, actually, which treasure we have in this Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition. Our Siddhanta is most amazing. I will not go into detail why, but every one of you knows, hopefully, why this is so. Who has this understanding of becoming the friend of Krishna, the father or mother of Krishna, or the lover of Krishna. The whole Krishna and Vrindavan dancing with the gopis, playing on the Yamuna, imitating monkeys, eating butter, and we can join this. And no clue that Krishna is God. A concept where you can hang out with God without understanding that He's God, because there's something better. There's something better to be with God. You know, God is the maximum, like the summum bonum. What can be higher than God? But there's something better. This is what we have. It's actually quite astonishing. And all the details, this kind of little thought on this. So we got sidetracked a little bit, but Narada Muni is intimately connected with Bhagavatam. So the spiritual body will be revealed. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. If we serve the Bhagavat, there are two Bhagavats. There's the book Bhagavat and there's the devotee Bhagavat. The book Bhagavat is clear. The devotee Bhagavat is also clear. His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And his most intense desire is to save this world with the words of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Tatvak visargo chanataga viplavo yasmin pratishlokam abadavati api namani anantasya Yasho Ankitan Yachrinvantiga Yantikriyanti Sadhava. I think I got it right. Where the Bhagavatam itself says, and Prabhupada translates it in a certain mood, that these words are a transcendental creation which are meant for an re-spiritualization of a misdirected civilization. These are the words. It's meant for a cultural, I think he says cultural, re-spiritualization for an misdirected civilization. So the Bhagavatam is to destroy this misdirected civilization, replace it, not just destroy it, bomb it down or something, to upgrade it to not just sattva, but vishuddha sattva. Right? So this is the mission of Srila Prabhupada and the Bhagavatam, and we can be part of this mission and get the greatest reward. As Prabhupada says, the soldier on the front line, he gets the most credit because he takes the greatest risk. So whoever joins the army will get lots of benefits. It's a transcendental army. Prabhupada liked the comparison between the sadhu sangha and the military operation. Prabhupada had often this, he said, the temple is not a place for lazies and crazies. It's like a base from where the soldiers go out and distribute books like anything, like in wartime, when there are bombs falling down, like anything. So the books should be distributed like anything. But it's in spiritual war. It's in spiritual warrior who fights his own demons first. Or not first, actually. At the same time, we fight the outer demons and the inner demons. When you distribute books, you fight the inner demons and you fight outside too. It's everything there. But still, a devotee should be very careful to fight his inner demons, these anarthas, as we spoke about, which rival and then become very pure and effective in preaching, teaching, and his bhajan. So thank you very much. We thank also Srila Prabhupada. We cannot thank him enough. He said, you are so much indebted. The debt you have because you got Krishna consciousness can never be repaid except if you preach, if you give it to others. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki. Any questions? Okay, then thank you very much. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande.